Call the meeting to order. Here she is. Call the meeting to order. And JR, would you like to do the prayer? And
Let us stand, please.
Gracious Father, we come to you now, Lord. We thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity to serve you in this community. I pray you just lead and guide our discussions, Father. We pray that you be honored by all that we say and do. Pray for your wisdom and discernment in all situations. Just commit this time to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. And I'm going to try to speak louder because apparently I don't speak loud enough to catch it on the camera. So I'm not upset. I'm trying to be boisterous. So our roll call. Commissioner Stiles, myself, I'm here. Commissioner Wink and Commissioner Bachman are all three here today. Public comments. Under 3 minutes, we have no public comments today, but we do have approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Well, second.
I have a first and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion will carry. Our top 10 expenditures for the week, for the month, I should say.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures. And,
I'll second.
okay, and I'll go through what our top 10 expenses were here. UPMC health insurance for $168,054. Bedford County retirement contribution, $100,833. RBA services, they're our IT provider, $22,140. Diamond drug prescriptions, $16,935, and that's to cover prescription coverage at the jail. SBA towers, which is lease for 911 towers, and that's $11,942. Summit Food Services for food at the jail. There's actually two of them, each for $11,786. Oh, the second one is for $11,778, a little bit different there. Hometown Bank of Pennsylvania, our lease for the CYS building, $7,040. Forensic DX, which is for autopsies, $6,311, and that's through the coroner. And then Insight Medical Group of Pennsylvania for medical out at the jail, $6,254.
Okay, having a first and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. We have no old business, but we do have some county staff updates this morning. We have P. Joseph Lehman.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll give you an update on a couple of our projects we're working on still. Your Bedford County Bridge Bundle, Bridges 5 and 7. The work at the bridges is 100% complete. The project came in under budget. I know that's something the Commissioner appreciate, and it was also on schedule. The county did return our signed notice of completion forms, and we're going to process that. We did submit the final payment application to the contractor that was sent to the county. We'll follow up and make sure that's taken care of. And the final payment will be $5,000 less than the bid amount due to repairs not being needed on the detour routes. So that was under budget. We updated the contract documents and plans and archived them and submitted them to the county on December 23rd. The next steps are the process of the final payment application. We'll work with Deb Brown on that. And the county is going to work with PennDOT to get the retroactive reimbursement funds. And again, we can help with that as questions come up. And also the county will work with PennDOT to clear liquid fuels expenditures for the bridge projects. Additionally, we're working on some repairs needed to the bridge railing at Woodbury Township, bridge number 2. Don Fix is handling that for us. He was up here last month to see you folks. Don is our bridge inspection and structural field services director. We did finish the repair railing details and drawings. We're estimating about $5,000 repair cost. The county had indicated previously that they wanted to use liquid fuels for the repairs, so we'll do that. And since liquid fuels are being used, PennDOT will need to review for structural adequacy of the repair, and that's something we're in process now. We're working with them as I speak to try and get that moved along. And since the repair is less than $12,600, the county can select a contractor to perform the work. So we'll get a quote for you and see how that turns out. And we continue to work with PennDOT on that as well. Finally, just to let you know, you may have seen a press release. We have Chuck Myers, who's been with our firm for over 25 years, was promoted to Transportation Services Director, and Bob Bryant is now handling quality control for our firm. So we did have some good news there. I don't know if you've worked with Chuck Myers or Bob Bryant in the past, but Bob just celebrated his 50th anniversary here this year. So very proud of Bob. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
I just want to commend you on the savings. Any way we can save taxpayer money is huge, and also want to commend you on a job well done, and the construction team, Caudill Asphalt as well. They did a tremendous job on the bridge as they went out to the bridge inspection as well as the ribbon cutting, and appreciate being part of those things. And I just want to commend you on a job well done for the county. Thank you.
Thank you. We're very proud of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dennis Tice to talk about the change in Bedford County's room tax rate.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Dennis Tice, Director of the Bedford County Visitors Bureau. I'm here with a number of our board members who are here as well. We are sometimes told that there's so much more the Visitors Bureau could be doing, and we agree, like expanding promotional activity, our internet presence, and our support for tourism assets in Bedford County. In December of last year, the Visitors Bureau Board of Directors formed a committee to explore the potential for any increase in Bedford County's room tax rate. Of 67 counties in Pennsylvania, 65 have a room tax ordinance. Of those 65 counties, 64 have a room tax rate of higher than 2%. Only one has a rate of 2%. That's us. The overwhelming majority of Pennsylvania's counties, by the way, that's a total of 45, operate with a room tax rate of 5% or higher. Our room tax committee worked to develop a budget for any increase to a 5% rate. Such a budget would include immediate improvements in our tourism community, new wayfinding signs for tourism assets, major online visibility enhancements, including websites, social media, and adding a program grant fund to help develop Bedford County's tourism assets. If Bedford County's room tax goes from 2% rate to a 5% rate, such an increase will take our annual room tax funds from $600,000 per year to approximately $1.5 million. On November 14th, the Visitors Bureau Board of Directors voted to approve the committee's recommendation. All Visitors Bureau board members, every one of them, signed the budget proposal recommending enactment of the new room tax ordinance with funds provided to the Visitors Bureau as prescribed in the PA Act 18 law. The CV board recommends that any new room tax ordinance specify the start date for the new 5% rate be January 1st, 2026. That was at the specific recommendation of one or two hotel operators. To effectively use such an increase, we developed a budget proposal, which I've already sent to you, with a side-by-side comparison to our current expenditure levels. I won't go through every one of them, but the majority of the funding increases are in three categories. The first is operations. In 2003, commissioners authorized a 2% rate under the old law. This ordinance authorized the county treasurer to keep 2% of all room tax receipts collected to pay for their efforts. If Bedford County adopts a new ordinance under the PA Act 18 law, that law actually authorizes the county treasurer to keep 4% of the total collections. Our county treasurer under the new PA Act 18 law, her funds would increase from $12,000 annually to about $60,000 annually. That would actually have a lot to do with maybe helping fund the treasurer's office. The second category is paid advertising, internet. We would dedicate an increase of about $480,000 for expanded internet development, social media, other promotion. The third is for grants. For more than 15 years, our Visitors Bureau has awarded an annual cooperative marketing grant of $50,000 to help our not-for-profit attractions and events with their advertising. We fund up to 50% of their advertising expenditures. It's good for us. It helps them promote their events. We want their events to be successful, so we give them half of the money to do it. A new grant program would be started, dedicating $250,000 to a program grant. The new program grant would fund capital improvement to our tourism assets. This program will require a minimum of 25% match per the PA Act 18 law. Grants under this program will be offered to not-for-profit organizations or projects whose purpose serves to attract visitors to Bedford County. If Bedford County adopts an ordinance for a 5% rate, it will generate an increase of about $900,000. That level of funding will have a significant impact on our ability to do what I said we needed to do earlier in the letter, help to promote and develop Bedford County as a tourism destination. I have here, if you'd like to see, this is a map of Pennsylvania. Everything in green is at 5%. There's only 1 at 2%. It's in yellow. That's us. And this is the letter of the budget. Shall I give it to you, or what do I?
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dennis, can I ask a couple questions?
Yes,
The letter that you sent to the board showed all the signatures of your board.
That's all the board members. Not the ex officios. Ex officios don't get to vote on those things, right? The board members do.
Board
Yes, sir.
members do. And how many do you have represented here today?
Let's see.
Could they possibly stand and introduce themselves?
I'm Donald Brown. I'm with the Chancery Sales Bed and Breakfast.
I'm Louise Stiles. I represent Denny's.
I'm Corey Meckes from ID Graphics, president of the board.
I'm Ken Toole with KLA Contractors and also chair of Reimagine Everett.
Charlie Crum, Bits of Time and Polar Blocks here in Bedford.
John Bittner, Holiday Inn Express for East Winton, and also treasurer.
Thank you. Just a couple quick questions.
Yes, sir.
Could you elaborate? I know that you had just did a fresh round of grants that were awarded at the end of the year, or could you-
Cooperative marketing grants?
cooperative market. Could you
Yes.
share a couple of those details from those grants that were awarded and the
Well,
businesses?
there's
Maybe
14,
off the top
well,
of your head?
we awarded, the Cooperative Marketing Grant Committee awarded $50,000 total. I'm trying to think of some of the applicants. Applicants can apply for up to, an individual applicant, up to $8,000. We didn't have enough to spread around to give the $8,000 max, but I know Old Bedford Village, for one, got about $7,700. The Fall Foliage Festival, which is very important. Downtown Bedford got about $77,000. I know the Bedford Fair, Bedford County Fair, but other smaller entities too apply. Allen Bank, they have the car show and the whole thing. That's the fire department. Southern Cove Power Reunion, which is steam engines and things like that. It's a big deal, and they apply for money, and we give it. Others very small, but still, the Quaker Museum, Fort Bedford Museum, all these entities, which they don't really have a lot of money necessarily, a lot of them, to advertise. So it's in our best interest to use these funds to advertise, to bring people specifically to their places, because when they bring it to Old Bedford Village, they're bringing them to Bedford County.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you had every applicant that submitted an application receive some kind of funding. Your applicants totaled just over 51,000, so you were able to provide money.
That's right,
to each
yes,
and every
sir.
one of them.
Yes, every eligible application was, there were some that submitted requests for like T-shirts, which we do not fund promotional items. So we turned that one down, but if they're doing advertising and promotions, by the way, it's outside of Bedford County. The reason for the funds is for them to advertise outside so that people come into the county. It's not necessarily for advertising right in the center.
And the program grants at $250,000, could you, I know you touched on it briefly, could you elaborate a little? Because that's very encouraging to me that if this hotel tax were to pass, that you are increasing the amount of grant funding available to the community, which I think is very encouraging.
Sure.
And because you're not just going to hoard the money at the Visit Bureau, you want to distribute that out and make a bigger impact.
The idea of the money is to make Bedford County better. One, have more people come here and make it with this. If these funds do come in, we'll actually have the funds to do something like this, which we think is great. So, the program grant could be used for historical things, cultural, recreation, outdoor recreation, anything that makes Bedford County a more desirable destination to our visitors. It is done with PA Act 18 law is very clear. Requires a 25% match either in kind or funds. So the entity would need to put up that much. But the Visitors Bureau could award up to 75% of a project. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, I would like to commend the Visitors Board for being here. We've met with you a couple of times, and it's great to see the commitment that you're showing to this. It would be a huge amount of funding that would be added to the budget with a lot of opportunity. It weighs on me as a commissioner when we're increasing taxes to make sure that as stewards of communities' funding, that we're meeting the needs of the community by increasing tourism in this case. And so I'm wondering, with this large influx of money, how will you be evaluating and measuring the success of any of these programs, whether it be grants, whether it be additional operational costs, marketing, new marketing endeavors?
Well, operational costs, I guess we'll just have to assess if the treasurer's doing her job. She is. Success, that's one way to measure that. Advertising, a lot of it is actually, you talk to anybody if you're doing advertising, a lot of it's pretty hard to track. You can generally track trends, that's not a problem. But to get specific, sometimes you can on digital marketing because they give you direct clicks, although sometimes I'm even suspect of some of that. I'm always cautious about anything anybody tells me on numbers. You always beware and be careful. Generally watching any trend and people saying they're hearing people talking about something. Some of our advertising programs, if they get response, we track our number of distro. We distro with the amount of funding which we have right now, we have to stick to pretty much, we try to target low-hanging fruit. That's what we got to do. We really don't have enough money to really go out and go wild. We have to use what we have to go for low-hanging fruit. And the low-hanging fruit includes areas in Maryland, West Virginia, Washington, D.C., distributing visitors guides. I think they're like miniature billboards down there. And we do quite a few thousand, tens of thousands down there. So we track and see how they're being picked up and if they're doing okay. We track, if we do billboards, which we did a pretty big campaign for the Small Town America, we can easily track the number of vehicles on the turnpike. Very difficult sometimes to say, who turned their head to the left and looked at your board? Nobody can do that. But in general, you can get a general, figure out the trending of how many people can potentially see your sign. So measuring to response from, first of all, our Visitors Bureau is comprised of people in the business community. So they see and hear things, and that's why they're on the board of directors. So those are some ways anyway.
Well, hopefully there'd be more stays in our hotels as well.
That's a good idea.
Then be bringing in more money, so to the county. So that would be important. I know there's a lot of interest in the community right now in not only tourism businesses, but also outdoor recreation. And I'm wondering, I know you have marketed directly to being a small town. Is there plans to expand that marketing beyond the small town?
Well, we don't just do small town, that's a moniker, which we've used. But we do all sorts of promotions. Hiking, biking, I mean, there's sub-pages on our website. So as far as outdoor recreation, yeah, I think we do. And do I think it will get better and bigger? Yeah. I mean, that's what, another $900,000 can do. Yeah, we're all for it.
Let's see, one of my other questions, there will be no money in your plan specifically dedicated for outdoor recreation, top trail, that kind of thing?
Well, let me grab mine.
Okay.
The thing we've dedicated money to right off the bat is actually wayfinding signs, which we think that can be very helpful. You can have the greatest trail system in the world and nobody can find it. So what? So we think that's a pretty important thing.
Would you talk a little bit more about what that is? I mean, where people may be watching this, may not be familiar with wayfinding. Can you explain what that is?
Let me find where I got it here. Wayfinding signs, just those little, as you're driving down the road, there might be a brown and white or blue and white sign that just says a heritage trail or this trail or, well, Shawnee Lake is a good example. So that's what it is. It's basically small signage directing visitors who stumble upon it or driving down the road. It does two things. One, it helps people to find it. And two, it's a little promo piece. The more of those you see as you drive by, more and more signs, you go, gee, there's a lot of these things in here. So it's more than just wayfinding. It's actually kind of establishing an impression in people's mind of what is out there. And if they say, gee, there's a lot of those. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. That's what they are.
Okay. Anything else for outdoor recreation that you specifically are prioritizing?
Well, that's what actually the program grant is. Eventually, we think a lot of people are going to apply for it under recreation. We have no doubt. It's not solely on that. I mean, there are historical things, history, cultural. We think they're all important. Do I think recreation is great? Yes. And plus, keep in mind, we're a county organization, and we will recognize all sorts of things throughout Bedford County, not just the town of Bedford. Although the town of Bedford is a big part of what we do, and we're happy about it.
I would imagine there's a lot of community interest in this. I see people that are here that aren't on the board. I don't want to put you on the spot to ask if you're here specifically to hear about this plan, but I'm guessing that may be the case. I really believe that we are best when we can work together and collaborate and be maximizing our energies together. Each organization, community groups, individuals, to bring more visitors here to Bedford County. Money's tight here in Bedford County. And so this influx of additional tax monies can be so helpful to us as a community. And we would get the benefits of more visitors coming. So I hope that collaboration will continue to work here together as we look at new taxes potentially and increased programs. I would like to mention, I don't know where we're going from here on this. Is there a game plan for?
We are scheduled for vote in the month of March, thinking that we'll have roughly 60 days for people's reaction, should somebody have a reaction to it. But I would also like to say that I said this in 2023, this is not money that the people of Bedford County are paying. It's money that's coming into the people of Bedford County. It does affect the hotels and such. They are going to have to charge an extra 3%, but that's minimal compared to the benefits it can do, in my opinion. If you go into any other area and stay anywhere, you're paying a much larger fee, as well as fees associated with city taxes and those various things. I mean, we're not asking the people of Bedford County to pay more. We're trying to bring the money in to help the people of Bedford County so we can collect more.
I just promise you this, what I'm stating before to y'all. I can promise you this, we will do everything according to PA Act 18 law. We use the money responsibly, wisely. We are willing to listen to other folks and things that they have to say, but the Bedford County Board of Directors, Visitors Bureau Board of Directors, is responsible for it as long as that is in their wheelhouse and theirs to do. They accept that responsibility because that's a big responsibility, and we're willing to do it under those conditions.
How are board members chosen for it, and is there a rotation of different representation?
There is. Generally, we try to operate with, according to our bylaws, a minimum of 8, a maximum of 16. Right now, we have 12. The Visitors Bureau Board talks about potential new members. They are vetted, they are spoken to, approached. It's just actually to get under the board is discussed pretty thoroughly in the board of directors. They're looking for people that are involved in their community, concerned about their community. And it takes several months actually of talking. We don't send out private investigators, but we do talk to people and see how they're doing. But one, if it's something they need to commit to, and actually come to the meetings. Yeah.
Is there terms to these positions?
Well, actually, if we find somebody that's willing to serve on the board of directors and comes to the meetings, you know how that goes. You want to, please never leave, please never leave. We do have some turnover. My guess is we actually have to turn over maybe 1, maybe 2 every year. But it turns over slowly, and thank God for that. Generally, I think everybody on the board of directors would tell you it takes about 2 years to sort of figure out what's really going on, to understand the workings, the constraints under which we operate, and our responsibilities.
I would like to say to the public that I would like to hear, I think we would all like to hear their thoughts on this. We know that we've looked at this several years ago and, became contentious. And I'm hoping that we can avoid that and move forward together. But I would like to hear, it will help me make a decision on how I would want to vote. I would like to hear from the public and your thoughts. If you feel strongly about things one way or the other, I'd really like to hear your rationale as I think through this. With that said, at our next meeting, we'll have public comment in February. Anybody who calls in or asks to be on the agenda, if they'd like to make any public comments.
That's the plan. That's why we did January as opposed to February and vote in March. We did it in January so people would have the opportunity to notify us and get on the agenda if they're so minded.
So every opportunity is there for the community to speak up about what's on their mind. And again, everybody's trying to do their best here. And, I commend the Visitors Bureau Board for their commitments and hard work on this. I know Amanda Burrows is very involved out at the Omni Bedford Springs. She couldn't be here today, but she's on your board as well. And I don't know if there are other board members that are not represented. But this is a big decision for all of us, and it can provide so much opportunity if structured the way that the community, would like it, and with the approval of the Visitors Bureau. And the
Structured within the Pennsylvania Act 18 law. That's where we stand. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
And
much.
I have one further comment. One of the things that anytime you talk about raising any kind of tax, as a conservative, my tax allergies start kicking in. I get a little itchy. because my dad owned a small motel in Breesville, a small mom and pop motel, and I knew how hard it was for him to make money with that and the hard work we as a family put into renting rooms. And as a result, I've talked to different people who own motels and things, and the smaller ones, the impact it would have on them, and renting rooms, and we really want to make sure that we gauge those businesses, and I'm sure you're doing that and reaching out to them, and communicating the benefits of this potential room tax and what that means for the community and attracting tourists and visitors and people to stay in those establishments and things like that. So I just want to just raise that one between now and February.
Anything else?
Am I allowed to make a comment?
Yeah, please.
Okay. As the county treasurer and collecting this county tax for the hotels, I have been pushing since the increase has been put into effect for the act, because it would bring more money into the county. And my true sight of it is not on our local residents. I know when I stay anywhere, I do not ask a hotel when I'm booking, what's your current county tax? Like it's part of the tax that you pay when you book a hotel. I have never asked for that. Now I look out of curiosity because I'm the one that collects it. I know when we travel to Ohio, their county tax is 10%. It's just part of the tax. But out of curiosity, I've now been looking at that just because of me collecting it. Also, it is an added amount that the hotels charge. So it's not coming out of their pocket. It's an added amount that they add onto their fee. And if they turn their hotel tax money in quarterly early, they get a 2% discount, which that would go to the hotel. So you're going to collect that percentage. And if you would turn it in on time from the hotel, they would sort of have a 2% discount that would be able for them to keep. I wasn't really prepared because I didn't know that this was on the agenda until last evening when I printed out the agenda. But I want to commend the Visitors Bureau. I know of 2 incidents. I traveled to Ocean City last fall. There were booklets for Bedford County,
Right.
In Ocean City, Maryland. So I've seen it firsthand that it's out there, like places I would have never thought, like to look for, Bedford County information. Also, I had someone come in my office purchasing a dog license, and they pointed out that the billboards really work. They've moved to Bedford County. That struck interest in them. They obviously came to visit. They loved it. They're now residents of Bedford County. So I just wanted to commend you on those few incidents that I have had opportunity to have here. But yes, and the money that Dennis said, like for the treasurer's office, it goes to the county. It goes into the county funds. It doesn't come solely to the treasurer's office. Yes, the treasurer's office does all the work for it. We send out the quarterly notices. We collect the money. If anybody's not turned it in on time, I'm calling them saying, hey, I haven't gotten your quarterly tax yet. Can you get that submitted? And we, send out everything. We pay for postage, all of that. So, but yet when the quarterly comes in, it goes into the county funds. It doesn't come strictly to the treasurer's office. So those are the few things that just quickly I could come up with, being I wasn't aware that this was on the agenda, but I am definitely in favor of, and it's been a long time needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move forward to new business. We have a motion to appoint the Bedford County Commissioners as members of the following agency boards as listed. And I won't read through them all, I'll let you see them. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
And comments?
I wanted to point out, there is one appointment, Center for Community Action Board, and I am on that board. But there's some confusion, it seems, about whether we actually appoint or whether they choose their own. So we're looking into that.
Yes,
Yes.
we went backwards for the previous years, and it was an appointment at that point. We did not
Right.
appoint last year. So we're researching whether or not that should or should not be an appointment. More to follow on that one. So that being said, absolutely.
Comment, just to draw your attention to the various boards we are on. Some of them are on jointly as a team. Some of those, meet at 7:30 in the morning, and some of those meet at 7 o'clock at night or something. So they meet at various times and during the day as well. And then some of them we serve on as individuals. And if you see any of those that you have an issue with that board, or something comes up, a concern that you think the commissioners need to be aware of, please don't hesitate to reach out to us with that concern or that issue you may have. And we're here to work for you, and we're representatives on those boards for you as citizens. So just want to draw your attention to that. And if you have any creative ideas for those organizations that you'd like to be shared, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. It's really about working with you to people. So
Okay, that being said, we have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the change of assessment notice control report for the month of December 24, based on the recommendation of Joyce Hilligas, Director of Tax Assessment.
So moved.
one second.
Any further discussion? Having a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the purchase of service agreement between Bedford County Children and Youth Services and Bedford County Juvenile Probation Office for the following period, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 inclusive, based on the recommendation of Christopher Bresco, Administrator of Bedford County Children and Youth Services, for Valley Youth House.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Having a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is D, a motion for the intent to sign the resolution for home program application for the public comment period, following the public comment period, and shall be effective on January 21st, 2025, based on the recommendation of the Center for Community Action. And I believe there might be somebody here to read this resolution.
Read it.
Thank you.
Resolution of the Bedford County Commissioners authorizing the filing of an application for funds with the Department of Community and Economic Development, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Whereas the home applicant is desirous of obtaining funds from DCED for affordable housing activities fundable under Title II of the National Affordable Act of 1990, 42 USC 12701 et seq, and the implementing regulations at 24 CFR Part 92. Now, therefore, be it resolved that a housing need exists and has been identified in the local, state, and consolidated plan, and the proposed housing activity addresses this need. It is further resolved that the home applicant has conducted the required citizen participation process. Be it further resolved that the home applicant will assure the provision of other necessary funds to make the activity feasible. Be it further resolved that the home applicant will reimburse the Commonwealth for any expenditures found by DCED to be ineligible. And be it further resolved that the appropriate officer of the home applicant is directed to execute certificate attesting to the adoption of this resolution and to furnish a copy of this resolution to DCED.
Thank you. Any comments?
Yeah, could you elaborate for the public a little bit more about what this program actually does?
Sure. We're applying for $200,000. It's for existing owner-occupied housing rehab. So we have a wait list at Center for Community Action, and we down the wait list, determine eligibility, and go in and do some rehabilitation on homes.
And this is inside and outside.
Yeah. It's just to make it livable. It's not kind of.
So essentially, if you have someone qualifies or an elderly person whose door is falling off of their house and with the cold air, in the winter and stuff, and they can apply to come in and have your organization essentially replace their front door if needed, or fix some broken windows or something along those lines.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That being said, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a motion to act in the governing body authorization resolution effective January 1st, 2025 for the submission of a grant for the Strategic Management Planning Program to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. This is based on the recommendation of Stephanie Clevenstein, Director of Planning. I believe Stephanie is going to read the resolution for us.
Whereas the County of Bedford will be undertaking a project under the Strategic Management Planning Program for Phase 2 implementation of recommendations identified in Phase 1. And whereas the County of Bedford wishes to participate in said project, and whereas the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development make available grants and aid to such projects through the Strategic Management Planning Program. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Bedford hereby authorize Stephanie Clevenstein, Director of Planning, to submit an application for such a grant on our behalf, and be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Bedford hereby allocates local resources in the amount of 50% to said project. Adopted on this date, January 14, 2025, by the Bedford County Commissioners.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, could you elaborate for the public a little bit on what the benefit of this resolution is?
Yeah, so the Bedford County Board of Commissioners in 2023 had applied for and was awarded a strategic management planning grant through DCD. That was Phase 1. So it identified, they spoke to every director, I think every elected official in the courthouse that wanted to participate and to get projects that were needed to improve either technology or staffing in the department. So a plan was written up by our consultant at the time, and now we can start applying for Phase 2, Phase 3, and subsequent phases. We have until June of 2029, I believe, to implement any of these projects that the county so wishes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to appoint Leroy Walls to the Bedford County Planning Commission Board effective January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2028 inclusive, based on the recommendation of the Bedford County Planning Commission Board.
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments? Having a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion will carry. A motion to submit the following ranked local bridge improvement request and the following roadway improvements to the Southern Alleghenies Rural Planning Organization for the 2027 Transportation Improvement Program as recommended by the Bedford County Planning Commission Board. Local bridges, T-373 over Sherry Road in Colerain Township, T-704 Old Mill Road in South Woodbury Township, T-634 Mill Street Bridge in Woodbury Borough, T-301 Hazen Road Bridge in Cumberland Valley Township, T-494 Pigeon Hill Road Bridge in East St. Clair Township, T-587 K Farm Road Bridge in Broad Top Township, T-598 Miller Road Bridge in West St. Clair Township. Then we have a roadway Pennsylvania Route 96 culvert repair in New Paris Borough. That being said, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Have any first and a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. We have a motion to act on the approval of the following personnel actions received by department heads as listed for new hires, transfers, and separations.
Yeah, I'd like to have that motion amended and have each of the categories voted individually.
Okay. New hires.
So we're going to make a motion for each individual individually.
Each category.
Oh, for new hires, correct. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the new hires.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on those? Hearing none. I have a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. There are no transfers, so we'll move to separations.
I'll make that motion to approve the separations.
And a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Having a first and a second, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll be abstaining.
Okay. We have 2 votes yes, so that motion will carry as well. Any further comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, I abstain on this vote just for a matter of conscience and not really having all the complete understanding of one of the particular separations and just with some of the issues surrounding that separation. So I'm going to abstain from that vote.
Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Next, we'll move to the salary board. Salary board, roll call members, myself, Commissioner Wink, Commissioner Bachman, and Secretary Treasurer Muscatano.
You're welcome to stay.
Yes.
We're doing salary board next. But you do not wish to, it's fine, right?
Yes,
From the minute.
that's true. Okay, our roll call, we'll call our meeting to order. Roll call of members, myself, Commissioner Wink, Commissioner Bachman, and Secretary Treasurer Muscatano. First order of business, approval of the minutes from December 17th and January 6th.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second? Having a first and a second, any further comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. We have old business, there's nothing to report. Under new business, we have a motion to act on the approval for the wages as or by union contracts for the following personnel based upon by the recommendation of the respective department heads for January. As listed.
So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, any further comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.